When it's a no, let it be a no. When it's a yes, let it be an yes. I always tell young people, the fact that everybody else is doing it doesn't make it right. And the fact that you're the only person doing it doesn't make it wrong. Because at times, there are people who are very pushy. Let me give an example. What is happening currently? Children are banning schools. And now you join in such an act because everybody else was doing it. Then you end up even jeopardizing other people's life in the name everybody else was doing it. Welcome our viewers, this is Teens Untold with me, Auntie Madge. This is another Sunday and I'm back and I'm glad to be here, and of course having you as my viewers of course makes me happy and of course gives me the mood and the psyche to keep doing what I do. So I'm so grateful. On our last episode, I was talking about peer pressure, different types of peer pressure, and of course, what causes peer pressure. And so many of you, they wrote, and of course, they were like, yeah, now you have explained like on different peer pressures, like the causes. But how do we avoid the peer pressure? And I saw, of course, I saw the need, of course, and on today's episode, I'm going to discuss how do you avoid the peer pressure? Because, of course, yes, it is possible. And, of course, yes, it is doable. You can avoid falling for the peer pressure. You can avoid being influenced into being who you're not. And, of course, there are a couple of things that you need to know and, of course, to learn. And, of course, you're good to go. So, to begin with, how do you avoid peer pressure? Number one, asking the one-on-one questions. What do I mean by one-on-one question? Remember on our last episode, I told you information is power. The moment you educate yourself, the moment you know the do's and the don'ts, the moment you understand what it means, how it happens, how it starts, it is easy for you to ask the one-on-one questions. If somebody comes to you and of course wants you to do something that's in you, you just feel it's not right, ask questions first. Why do you want me to do it? What do I stand to benefit? You know, what value is it adding to my life? You know, after doing it, what next? And so, for this person who is trying to influence you in being who you're not, the moment you ask these questions, one thing they realize is that you're informed. You have the information. You understand who you are. You know what you want for this life. And so, what do? They back off. Because for one thing, they realize you're not the kind to influence easily. And so for them, they want people who they can influence easily. They tell with the people who they go and tell them, let's go, they just follow even without asking questions. But if you become this person who asks questions, we call them the one-on-one questions. They don't have to necessarily be one-on-one, but the moment you ask questions, be it 1, 2, or 3, they realize like, this person is not easy to influence. And how do you ask the one-on-one questions? When you have the information, when you're empowered, you know, when you understand what it means, when you understand what you want. That is the only time you can ask the one-on-one question, because without information, how do you ask? Without information, how do you confront this person? How do you stand for you? You can only do that when you have the information. So get informed. Know what it means, what happens. How do they come, like in the shape form that they come, they come in, like looking like. You need to understand all those ABC for you to be in a position to ask the one-on-one questions. The other thing is practicing how to say no. It is okay to say no. That is one thing that I want young people to understand, that it is okay to say no, regardless of who is asking for it. Like who they are in your life, whether they're your friends, whether they're your parents, at times it is okay to say no. Mostly when you realize whatever they are telling doesn't go hand in hand, you know, with your values, with what you believe, it is okay to say no. And of course, question, ask also, you can also say no by asking the one-on-one questions. You ask the question, and of course, if after all the one-on-one questions, nothing valuable comes out of it, it is okay to say no. At times I tell young people, at times somebody will tell you to do something. As long as you're seated, you're not doing nothing, you're resting, that is your you time. So it is okay to say no. You don't have to do it, you know, because now that you're seated, yeah, it is your you time, you're resting. So when they request you to do something, if it is your resting time, it is okay to say no. There is no harm in saying no. When they can't tell you to do something that is not good, things that are not adding value to your life, even if they're your friends, they're your mates, they're your teachers, because at times they are teachers who influence you into becoming who you're not. They will lead you into doing bad things. It is okay to say no regardless of who they are, as long as you're standing for you. And of course, you say no in a respectable way. Don't insult, don't belittle. Don't tear people apart, but you can say no in a respectable way. And of course, let the no be powerful. Let the no be like, you say it like you mean it. At times you say like, no, and then, it's like you're not sure whether it is a no, whether it's a yes. When it's a no, let it be a no. When it's a yes, let it be an yes. And let the person who is around you understand. When it's a no, you mean a no. And regardless of how many times they keep pushing you, they keep letting you, like they want you to do it, they keep like narrating, they keep you like giving excuses and reasons why you should do it, let your no remain a no. And keep reminding them that when it is a no, it's a no. Regardless of what they say, regardless of the version they use, it is still a no. Stick to your no and say the no like you mean it. Don't give it like it's a no, and the other hand like you want to change it like it becomes a yes. If it's a no, it's a no, and let it remain a no. The other thing you should do to avoid peer pressure is being repetitive. You keep repeating the same thing. If it's a no, it's a no. And like I said earlier, if it's a no, no. They give you excuses, you still say, regardless, it is still a no. They give you it is still a no. Regardless of what they say, tell them it is okay and I understand. That is how you feel. But to me, it is still a no. I can't do it. If you keep repeating the same thing at the same time, they will get it. Because at times, there are people who are very pushy. They are friends who will push you. There are these family members who will push you. They keep repeating it every now and then. At times, they will even use tactics that will make you feel guilty. Regardless of how they come, in whichever shape or form, make sure your no still remain a no. If it is a yes, let the yes remain a yes. If it is something that needed to be done, let it remain a yes. Don't fall into it because they just went and changed form. They came into using this tactic, and now they go change form, and then they come with another tactic. Of course, because they want to pursue into doing whatever they want to do. Make sure you repeat it and you still stick to your answer. If it is a no, it's a no. If it's a yes, it's a yes. The other thing is getting away from that pressure zone. At times it is around friends. You realize these friends, they are always pressurizing me into being who I'm not. It is okay to get away from those friends. Detach from them. Set boundaries. They can still be your friends. And if you're strong enough to set boundaries, But if you're not strong enough to set the boundaries, just leave. What do you mean by boundaries? Boundaries is when you say, yeah, they are my friends, but it can't go beyond this point. Like you're in a position to know, no, now this is unhealthy, and when it comes to this point, I'm out. But if you're not strong enough to do that, it is okay to walk away. There is no need of having friends that are not adding value to your life. Because if you're not adding value to your life, there's no need of them being in your life. Walk away. Get friends that share the same values as you, the same beliefs, the same motives. You go to school, you're there to learn. And if they are not for the same thing, why are you having them as your friends? After all, you went there alone, and of course, as you leave, you're going to leave alone. And most probably, you never even meet them. I always tell people, nowadays in the Vizuri, at least you have like media platforms where people meet. You meet somebody you're with in primary school. In nursery school, you remember them and you be like, boom, it is that person. You can meet on social media. Before social media, there was nothing like that. So it is always to understand these are people you only meet in school. And of course, after school, you leave. If anything, you didn't even go there with them. You went there alone. So if they are not sharing the same values as you, it is okay to walk away. Leave them alone. They don't deserve to be your friends. Walk away. Don't allow them to drag you behind. Don't allow them to let you forget what your values are and the reason why you went there in the first place. The other thing is avoid stressful situation in the first place. Don't allow yourself. There are some people who will be like, maybe if it is a bad behavior, maybe in school or probably at home, somebody influenced you to do, maybe your parents left chores at home with you, and of course a friend came, and of course they wanted you to go somewhere, and so you danced to the tune, and of course you left and you went with him. What happens is, know that now you realize time is all gone. You haven't done what you're supposed to do, and so what happens? Now you're stressed because you left, what you're supposed to do you haven't done. Maybe it is even homework. You didn't do your homework, now you're going back to school. If the homework is not done, and of course it won't go well in school with teachers and all that. Maybe this is a friend who influenced you into relationships. You're pregnant. The damage has already been done. Now you're so stressed up, you're pregnant, you're still in school. How do I go on with school and so forth? So avoid being in such situation before it gets worse. Say no from the beginning. Be aware, understand, and avoid those stressful situations. Do what you're supposed to do first. These things will come back later. Whoever comes to either call you or to get you into all those, make them understand, I have things that I have to do first. And once I'm done with what I'm supposed to do, then we can go to point B. Because they'll get you into stressful situations that will make you end up making wrong choices and of course wrong decisions. So it is always good to avoid those stressful situation. Others is you can use a buddy situation. Somebody same values. What do you mean by a buddy situation? You have friends that share the same values as you. Make sure those are the people you keep closer to you. People who share the same values, they share the same beliefs as you are. Mkisema ni kwenda kusoma ni kusoma. If you say it's this, not people when you're it is masomo time, but they're telling you to do other things. Avoid such people. Make sure you have people in your life that share the same values as you do. The other thing is confront. When you both alone, let me say, for example, you realize that this is a person who keeps influencing me into doing things that are wrong. So when at times they are within other people and it is hard for you to confront them, ask questions. Tell them, yeah, I understand what you're doing is not right. As much as you come with your friends and of course you're there to my face, maybe intimidating and all that, I understand. And of course I know what you're doing and of course it's not okay and I don't appreciate it whatsoever. People who influence others negatively, by they are very weak because they are the ones who have issues. And of course, because they have issues within themselves and they have not worked on them, they want to drag others along. And so when you confront them, they realize you notice it, you know it, and so they will back off. So make sure when you meet them, whether they are bullying you, whether they pick on you and all that, make sure when you meet the two of you, confront, make sure you let them know that you understand and you know. And by so doing, of course, they'll back off and of course they'll let you be you. Have positive role models. Have people, like I always say, people that add value to your life, and mostly let them be people that are higher in age than you are. Have your aunties, have your parents. I always tell people, you never go wrong with your parents. Talk to them. Whatever situation you're going through, talk to them. You can talk to an elder auntie, an uncle if you're a boy, and of course there are issues you cannot talk to them, to your parents, but make sure those personal stories, you don't share them with your mates because they always mislead you. Make sure you share them with elder people so that at least they can give you the right information at all times, and most of the times let them be your parents because they always have good intentions. They mean well. They will never mislead you whatsoever. Of course, also taking a moment and think of the consequences. Before you do something, just take a moment. Think about it. And you're yeah, whatever I'm about to do, what are the consequences? Because you say choices have consequences. So if I choose to do A, B, C, D, what are the consequences? Me with my kids, most of the times, because I have young kids, if they want to do something, I always tell them to take a pen and a paper. And I'll do same as well when they come to me. So we divide it into two halves, and of course we write the advantage, and on the other side we write the disadvantage. So I tell them on one side, write what are the advantages of whatever you want to do, and on the other side write the disadvantage. And I do the same as their parent. And so at the end of it all, we compare the two. And of course, if the disadvantages outweighs the advantages, then that thing is not worth doing it. So I challenge you today, if you are about to do something, before you do it, take a pen and a paper, to your knowledge, divide it into two, write the advantage and the disadvantage of it. And of course, you can find somebody else who can help you do that. And if, of course, the disadvantage are more than the advantage, then you know it is not worth doing it. Because, of course, if it is good, the consequences will be good. If it is bad, of course, the consequences will be bad. Because with every choice that you make, it has consequences. So weigh, of course, the consequences before you even dig yourself in. Think fast before doing it. Simple. Think about it first. Before doing it, think it, and of course, the consequences. The other thing that you need to understand is that have positive role models. That one you had talked about. And of course, don't buy the line that everybody else is doing it. There's this proverb that young people mostly talk about, like, yeah, I did it because everybody else is doing it. I always tell young people the fact that everybody else is doing it doesn't make it right. And the fact that you're the only person doing it doesn't make it wrong. As long as it is what is right, as long as it's right, even if you're the only person doing it, that doesn't make it wrong, and there's no harm, and it is okay. Go ahead and do it. And the fact that everybody else is doing it, you don't have to join, and you well know it is not right. Let me give an example. What is happening currently? Children are burning schools. You know, we saw a girls' school whereby girls were forced to even jump on very like second floor windows all the way down. You know, and now you join in such an act because everybody else was doing it. Then you end up even jeopardizing other people's life in the name everybody else was doing it. It's not worth. Not at all. Make sure, even if everybody else is doing it and it is wrong, don't do it. And the fact that you're the only person doing it and it is right, it is okay. There is nothing to be bothered, nothing. You shouldn't be worried because that is what is right. And of course, you should do it, even if nobody else is doing it. Be unique. I always tell young people, be unique, be different. Create your own signatures. You know, you find young people dressing like so-and-so, you know, ask them and they're like, yeah, I want to dress, I want to look like so-and-so, I want to look like this person and that person. But I always tell them, it is okay. It is okay. You look up to them as your role model. But at the same time, you can also, that is their signature. You can as well create your own signature. Be your own unique. Yeah, you can do as they do, but let it have a twist so that you can also be you. Like when you see you, we don't have to see that role model, because when you do everything as they do, when we see you, we see them. We don't see you, we see that person whom you want to be like. Why can't you like do it with a twist and of course create your own? Like the moment I see you, the moment I meet you, I see you, but not your role model. And it is still okay. The other thing is be your own best friend. You know, be content with being you. Don't look for satisfaction from others. Don't look for approval from others. You know, be okay with being you, yourself. Find happiness within you. Not like without so and so I cannot be happy, because that is also something that that is leading young people to bad peer pressure, because you feel like you're not complete being you, you're not happy being you. And of course, you want to be with so-and-so, you want to be friends, you want people around you. And of course, because you feel like you're half, you feel like there is a half you. And so you need these people to come and fill you and make you whole and make you one. And of course, in the verge of looking for this other half, you end up falling into the wrong arms. It is always good to be whole, to be content, being you, yourself, like with or without friends. You're fine, you're okay. Find like things that you love doing alone. You know, you can take a book and read, you can watch movies. Like, you don't have to be with people. Yeah, I don't mean like having friends is bad, don't mistake me, that is not what I mean. But I'm like, with or without friends, you're still fine, you're still okay. Because with that, it is hard for you to fall in the wrong arms, because many young people have fallen into the wrong arms when they're looking for their missing half, of which they are complete on their own. You go to school, you know, you're there and you just feel, no, I need so I need friends, I need this, and so you fall into the wrong arms. Many have been taken advantage of, and of course they have ended up being lesbians, gay, you know, they steal, they smoke, you know, they drink. Why? Because they felt they were not whole in themselves, and of course they went looking for the other half, and of course they fell into the wrong people. So be content being you, being yourself, and it's not a must that you have friends around you. The other thing is find ways to excel, like your personal goals. What are your personal goals? You can even write them down. And of course, as you achieve them, you just tick. Like, what are your personal goals? What do you want for this life? You know, if you're in school, masomo, the key, you know, go for it. do it like you've never done before. Summer, because after that, of course, that is the only time you're going to achieve your goals. Maybe now you're done with school, and of course, either you want to start in a business, or you want into whatever thing you want to venture into. You want to go to campus, you want to go to college. Like, have goals, like, know what you want, and of course, focus on that. Don't overdo it. Don't be everywhere. Just focus on your goals. Make sure that you have, like, you find your ways to excel from one person, to better yourself, to better you, to move you from being this person to this person, of course, up the ladder. Make sure, like, you find ways to excel as a person. Also, watch your moods. At times when you're moody, moods, people mistake that, and of course, when they come, okay, to them they interpret maybe you need a shoulder to lean on, and of course, when they come, it is always good to control, like, how you feel. When you're around people, you don't have to be moody. You don't have to, like, express, like, frustrations at all time, your anger, your bitter. People misinterpret that. And of course, you find, like, people who come around you, they might come and of course misinterpret the whole thing. And of course, you end up with the wrong people. Also, make sure, find friends who are adding value to your life. As I've always said, like, most of my shows, that is one thing I emphasize on, because I've realized, like, with the young people, friendship, where you go, where you move, the friends you choose, people who you go out with, they'll determine. And we say life is all about choices. Choices. I say choices determine who you're gonna become. They determine who you are, who you're gonna become in future. Choices. So make sure the friends that you have, they are friends who are helping you to make the right choices. Because if you make wrong choices, boom, you're doomed, kaput. So make sure the friends you have, the friends that are adding value to your life. And of course, as I finish, as I always tell young people, the first thing is, you love yourself. If you don't love yourself, believe you me, regardless, nobody else will. I say it always starts with you. If you can't love you, how do you expect others to love you? So it has to start with you. Number one, love yourself. Number two, believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, others won't. And of course, it's you to teach others how to treat you. I tell people, I always tell young people, if people are treating you badly, know you are there. You're the cause, because you're the one who is teaching them how to treat you. So if you want them to treat you right, teach them how to treat you right. So if they treat you badly, don't go blaming them. Don't go hating. Don't go insulting. Don't go giving attitudes. Make sure it is you who has taught them to treat you that way. So, and if you need better, then you need to better yourself so you can teach them how to treat you life right. The other thing is that your worth. You need to understand that your worth, all the times, your worth. Because the moment you lose your worth, you lose everything. Because when you lose that worth, that is when you're being taken advantage of. You get influenced into doing wrong things. So make sure you know your worth. So love yourself, believe in yourself, because you're worth it. That is all I have for today, and I'm hoping that I have managed to educate you and of course talk about all that you expected. And of course, until next Sunday, this is Teens Untold. Goodbye.